Let's see how we're doing. Are we live? Are we live? Are we here? I'm using my other laptop today, so that this, I had to kind of, as you know, I have a laptop situation. Hello, folks, everyone. Hello and welcome to HoDiGa tonight. It is a repeat of the Fantastic Four. It's almost like the Four Musketeers here. And just to give everyone a heads up, we've got a big show tonight. I've been gathering questions through the week. We've got at least 7 questions, which should be enough for the hour. But we're not going to go at breakneck speed. But, normally Lena's pretty good at shouting out, aren't you? Kind of cracking the whip a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. Next.
Making sure that we stay tidy. So tonight's show, so as usual, the ladies don't know what questions I'm going to ask. I'm giving them a little bit of a big background, but tonight's show, I'm referring to it as a bit of a USA sandwich. And you're probably thinking, what on earth is Hoagie talking about? So we're going to start with an American topic. And then we've got some sandwich fillers in the middle, which are international, still very important. And then we're going to end on some American topics as well. As everyone here knows, the news goes at breakneck speed. And we've all just been saying, even as YouTubers, it is so much work just to keep on top of everything. Everything is developing. So there are many of you that are piling in the chat tonight. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. As in previous shows, I will click on the comments, and ladies as well, if you would be happy just to bring certain comments to my attention that I might miss or what's relevant, and we'll get them clicked up. And so let's introduce everyone. Of course, we have a Lady G, who is, is that to my right or left? Anyways, Lady G. We have Dianne's Tarot. And of course, we have Dr. Lena Rodriguez, who will be throwing in her usual Aussie spice from down under, I'm sure. But, we all have our styles, don't we? So, ladies, shall we just leap into the show? And
Dianne, there we are.
Before we do, I want to put out a shout out. We lost Cappy's mom this last week to cancer. Her family was so wonderful to put out a link to have a viewing, to go to her viewing and her, when they were giving the information about her and stuff. So I'm sure she is watching from the other side, and a shout out to Cappy's mom for all the help that she's done on our channel so many times.
Oh, yes. Love and light as well. And that actually reminds me as well. And this is actually, and this is sort of like a little collective shout out as well to Linda G, who we know has been having a bit of a stressful time at the moment. We're not going to go into the details here. You can go on to her community page, but we're sending her prayers and light as well. So just so you know, Linda, everyone is supporting you here. So you're all good. And it's good to know that you're safe and things are good. Right. Let's start. And the comments, it's already going crazy already. Okay. Question number 1. Let me just get myself organized. Here is the book, as you know. I've got so many highlighted pages backwards and forwards, and so I'm going to be literally scooting backwards and forwards. Okay, so where have I written number 1? Okay, so this has come in from SJ Wonder. And they've asked, will Fulton County, Georgia grand jury, including like Fannie Willis, who I think is maybe heading the thing up, indict Trump before he declares himself as a candidate for presidency in 2024? So I'll just repeat again. Will Fulton County, Georgia grand jury indict Trump before he declares himself as a candidate for president in 2024? Oh, juicy.
You're kind of breaking up.
Yes.
I think almost a second. What, me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
crikey. Did you manage to hear the question?
Yes, we did get it, but you're just to let you know, you're breaking up a bit.
Oh, right. Okay. Look, I'm going to close down some things here because I've got some stuff open.
87 things open. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have to toggle between laptops because they're not always reliable. So I always have two. And somehow I managed to get through the show. If I drop out, then I'll join on my phone. But so far, so good. So, Dianne, looks like you're ready. What do you have?
I am. So actually, they're thinking about it. 2 of Wands. So this actually is a possibility. I didn't even think about this ahead of time. So cold read, but yeah, they're thinking about it. And look, here's the obstacle. Our friend the devil, right? We always, you gotta do. Right, always, he's a staple when I read on 45. And I think he's feeling like these characters. He's feeling chained down by all of this. This is just weighing him down. And here he is just feeling miserable and grief-struck and depressed. And once again, feeling even more tied down and chained up. And so that makes me feel like, yeah, this is actually a real possibility. This, like, they're actually thinking about this, and it could be in the works.
Wow. Okay. Lena or Lady G, who's ready to go first?
I'm ready here.
Go for it.
Yeah, similar to Dianne. I think this is George's AG, Fannie Willis, breathing fire here. And she's up for the fight, you know. She knows this is not an easy or a normal situation. She's dealing with the devil in this death. This is Trump breathing fire. I think she's got all her ducks in a row. She's just waiting to pounce. So I would say there's a strong possibility too. But this, of course, is the race to watch. How soon will he commit? But I think she's just there, ready.
Oh my goodness. All right. All good. I've tried to click on the comments, everyone, but because I'm using my other laptop today, it's taking ages to do it. And I just don't want to chance it. So we're going to have to just kind of maybe just read some stuff out, what's relevant. And sorry, folks, sometimes that's just the way it is. So are you, so you're good there, Lena? Yep. With your cards.
Yeah. Lady G. Yeah.
Yeah, Lady G, what do you have?
Okay, well, today I'm doing a little different. I'm incorporating some Lenormand. So they're looking at putting an end to his wanting to be like a homing pigeon, going back to the White House, and the contract of what they have, said they're going to do. Above it, we have hanging him up. Foundation is they're looking at the exchange. This is coming. It's payback time, and she is going to take action.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, what do I have? So I've got the Knight of Wands that's turned up here. So we know this is about passion, speed. You know, the horse has got his two legs, front legs raised and stuff like that. So this literally could be, the approach of Georgia really wanting to kind of basically throw the sticks, at Duck L'Orange. What do I have in the obstacle position? Look at that. We got the 10 of Swords. 10 of Swords. Now, it is said to be when the swords are reversed that, the swords can be seen to be falling out. But when we take this in the context of Donald Trump, we know what this means. Yeah. So they basically want to throw all the swords in his back. And get rid, basically. If we look here, the next card that comes up is the 6. Yeah, it's the 6 of Wands, but look, it's come out reversed. The opposite of victory. So I think basically we know we've got the Jan 6 stuff, but it could end up being the Georgia courts that are the ones that really throw Duck L'Orange, Donald Trump, under the bus. It could actually be them. Particularly as well, look at the next card that comes out, the Hierophant. So, of course, talking about government, rules, regulations, wanting to restore order after all of this chaos, mishigas and weirdness and all that kind of stuff. And my outcome card here It is the Knight of Pentacles, but reversed. Now, they say actually when the Knight of Pentacles is reversed, it can refer to mercenaries, can't it? Mercenaries, things like that, these people, but as well as things being maybe overly sluggish and stuff like that. So what I would suspect is that the Georgia courts would bring forward something to indict Trump and his cronies. I think they've just charged as well the 16 people that were going to put forward the fake thing. Do you remember they were going to do the fake whatever? Yeah. They've been charged as well, so that would make sense, wouldn't it? Those would be the mercenaries.
Yes, absolutely.
And so for me, I feel like it's actually the Georgia court case that probably delivers some of the goods before some of the other ones. What else do you think about that, ladies, before we move on?
Yes, I think so. Also, New York, when their case had to be suspended, does anyone know in the chat, has it been rescheduled? Because after Ivana's passing, they had to
Good
hold
question.
it up. Does anyone know? So can someone look that up for us if it's out there?
Yeah, that would be great. Nuts for Art is just saying, HoDiGa, you need to buy an internet booster to plug into your computer. It will strengthen your internet. Yeah, there's that. But sometimes, folks, it is just plain old fickle stuff. The energy just gets going and everything starts to tremble and wobble, and there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, so are we ready for the next question?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so let's tick that one off. So let's go to one of the first international ones. Now, this one I think we could actually spend a bit of time on, and this is really juicy. I'm sure you'll agree. So we're going to China. Yeah, question number 2 is China. And I wrote this earlier down in the week, so forgive me as I just refresh my memory, but this will also put you guys into context and the audience as well. So have you guys heard about the China mortgage default and banking crisis that's going on over there right now? Okay, so Diane's heard of it, but some may not. So there's debt in China's property sector estimated at $9.2 trillion worth of exposure. 9.2 trillion, everyone. So the banks are exposed. The citizens, so Chinese citizens, have stopped paying their mortgages en masse.
Wow, I didn't know that.
They've stopped paying their mortgages en masse in at least 86 Chinese cities. Yeah. And this is when I picked up on the story, on the middle of the week. So we're not used to hearing this kind of stuff from China, but they're going for it. And the state is trying to censor that information, both internally in China and to the world. Yeah, surprise, surprise. It says here, I just made a note, 28 out of 100 Chinese top developers have defaulted or sought extensions on their debt. So they're having a big subprime thing, like how we had in 2008.
Yeah.
That's what's going on there. From the start of 2022, property sales have plummeted by 72% in China. Wow. Yeah. And the government wants to put in 1.2 trillion to prop it all up. And it looks like America's subprime market, like I was saying, so they're trying to hide it. So the question here is, how will China's subprime issue affect the global economy? And as you shuffle on that question, recently, the Global Times, which is said to be a mouthpiece of the communist regime in China, is saying if Nancy Pelosi visits Taiwan, as she's planned to do, they're saying they're kind of making out it could trigger war. So there's that extra flavor in there as well.
Because lest we forget, for all regimes, when things are going badly, best have a war, so
it's the best distraction tactic ever, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
So how will China's subprime issue affect the global economy? Oh, Diane's looking ominously at her cards.
I was like, wow, okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. So I'm all set to go.
Go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, the first card I get, the Tower. So yeah, I think it's going to cause a bit of chaos and negativity, and things are going to fall apart a bit. I mean, we're all connected. If something happens in China, we're going to feel it somewhat, no matter what we do, right? The obstacle, for me, the Queen of Wands has to do with business, entrepreneurship, that sort of thing. So I think this is going to affect a lot of businesses for sure. And I picked a few outcome cards because I wanted to see where this was going. So at first, it's going to cause a lot of stress, worry, anxiety, sleepless nights for all of us. They're going to have a judgment call with this. They can't just let this go. I mean, I know they're trying to keep it under wraps. They're trying to conceal it, but you really can't nowadays. So they need to exercise better judgment, not just in, keeping us informed, obviously, but actually how they treat their people. The people are doing this for a reason. And a lot of them, it's not just protests. They actually are very poor at this moment. I mean, the pandemic has ravaged them. I think we're all going to feel a bit held back, restrained, victimized, but eventually we do work things out. But I mean, look at how long it took me to get there too. So I think it's going to have quite an impact for quite a long time. It just hasn't really broken in the news cycle yet in a major way. I mean, I just follow Chinese news, so I happen to see it, but it's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, very concerning, isn't it, when we think of how interconnected everything is. Who's ready to go next? Lena or Lady G?
Lady G, you ready?
Okay. Well, above it all, we have the offerings. Underneath of it is the light coming forward with it. We have the housing market and the contracts. In between that, we have the illusion, the dark things that are happening behind the scenes. When it comes to the health of it, we have those that are like 45, the cons, the drama that's happening. So what I had underneath of it, I wanted to get a little clarification. Things are kind of blocked with what's really going on from the dark side, the head up, and they're trying to juggle things, and it's going to affect those that are in power, those that are trying to lead. So it's going to affect everything.
Wow. What do you have, Lena? As my side scrolling board just goes a bit weird, and I'm hoping it's correct.
In the center, the King of Wands, which is the King of Fire in this, and I think that represents the Chinese state, normally the seat of power, huge power. But at the moment, their obstacle and their challenge is the fire is coming over the hill, and they're going to have to make a strategy that they're not comfortable with here. Bear in mind the scale of this. I can remember maybe 10 or 12 years ago, China was building a university every week, an entire physical university, but there were no students. There was no one in there teaching. And it was just this, hollow thing, which is why they're in this position. Okay, what's hovering over their head, the atmosphere for all of us in terms of the world economy, is the Ace of Truth. And I think it's about the truth of globalization, that it will hit people because it's supply as well as cost, right? So it is going to impact, because for the last 30 years, you haven't been able to buy a single item that isn't made in China, basically, right? So the effects are actually ripple. They're often not expensive goods, but they're everyday goods. Now, fives, for those of you learning tarot, fives are not marvelous numbers, it's in the thick of it. And I get 3 5s, all the cards, loss and challenging. But I think this is talking to the global as well, because you've got this pincer movement with Ukraine and China in this state. And as I've often said, I think we're witnessing peak capitalism. And by that, I mean where corporations have become more powerful than individual countries, where they have too much power in every country. And so we've hit, and that will lead to a certain loss of ability to respond, right? Because every country is so distracted. This is loss, and a bit of confusion. And here's the thing with this card. Again, another card of loss, the Eight of Swords, you know, the hostage card. But the key is in the door. So it's how we enter this next phase of peak capitalism, whether it all goes to hell in a handbasket or whether it ends up translating into better conditions for people. But it does have to change. It does have to get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. Just in reference to the previous question, Becky Givens said, they said that they can't start an investigation of a candidate in an election year, whether he declares or not. Neither 2022 or 2023 is an election. So, I mean, that is that a reference maybe to that Merrick Garland memo that has been doing the circuits? Where
they said that's not true. There's already investigations going, so they're not going to stop the investigations. They just won't start perhaps new ones, but what's ongoing is ongoing. That's not going to get him out of it.
Good. Okay,
and there are plenty of those.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so many. Like I said, Dr. Larange will be the most litigated man in history. I've always seen him, my vision for him. Do you remember ages ago, this was like back in the early days of my channel, I said, I see two worn out slippers that have been gone at by the cat and the dog. Do you know what I mean? That kind of very chewed up, kind of slightly pee-peed on kind of looked, left outdoors, mouldering anyway. So we've gone slightly back into that question there, but at least that kind of like clears that up a bit. And going back to the China situation, look what I get. The Tower.
Like Dianne.
Same as me, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Cards in sync again, the Tower. And this literally, as we know, this has so many metaphorical meanings for absolutely everything. Not only what's going on in China, but the world right now. I feel like we're just in this extended Tower moment where one thing is toppling down after another. It's like domino tower effect. So this, in many ways, it shows the seriousness of what this really means for China. This is a really big problem because they are really revolting. I don't know if anyone's, not they are revolting, they are rising up. Has anyone seen the videos of the people being beaten by the authorities, dragged away, kicked downstairs? These are people who have had their whole livelihoods, their whole life savings taken away. And then the banks, because they use that QR code system, have basically tried to block them out of all of society rather than give them their money. And, there was an uprising, so things changed. So there we are. So this is literally for China a really bad moment. Oh, just over 1,000 of you have just joined us. Thank you, guys.
Wow.
I know, it's looking at it. Everyone's piling in. So look at this. The obstacle position is what? The King of Wands, which is all about what? Business, entrepreneurship. What's been happening because of the zero COVID policy? It's chewed up the whole system. It's just not realistic to try and have completely zero COVID when you've got a nation of what, 1.3 billion or something like that.
Yeah.
So here it's really affected business, and a lot of people started to lose money because they've not been able to work because they've closed everything down. Look at the next card, Wheel of Fortune, upside down. So we can see, China's fortunes changing. So maybe that amazing, incredible sort of economic boom times are starting to hit some really choppy waters, genuinely. And of course, that's not going to be great for us. The people and the regime are just distraught about this. That's what you got as well, isn't it? Losing sleep. Everyone is in a tizzy because I think this is really a time where the Chinese people, maybe for the first time in quite a while, really are starting to deeply mistrust the government. And that's quite radical for them. That really is. And then the outcome card here, look, we got what we were talking about, big business, internationalism. There we are. So this is, in many ways, I see this as China trying to maintain its image. You know, we're strong, we're powerful, we're growing, we're not going anywhere. But the previous cards do show that there's some instability and insecurity. And if they were feeling very confident, I don't think they'll be too worried about Nancy Pelosi coming to visit Taiwan. It shouldn't really be that big of a deal. So that's my spin. Ladies, what else do you have to add to that?
That's it.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
rock on. That's my job.
Let's rock on. Sunny Intuition is saying, love those cards, Lena. And then good morning, everyone from Sydney, Australia. Thank you for joining us. Yay, we've got some Aussies in the house. What's this?
Those cards are the Jacaruzzi Tarot.
Something like that. If someone else could have a little rummage through the comments as well. So that's China. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is a random one. Now, as you know, I like to throw in the odd random question here. And I'm going to be particularly curious to see what Dianne thinks about this question. All right. So you know, I'm always talking about Rahu and all this kind of stuff. You know, we've got Mars, Rahu, and Uranus. Or no, Rahu's gobble gobble, actually. Snip snip is Ketu. Sorry, yeah. So Rahu deals with literally can deal with food as well, because he's the head without a body. Yeah. So Rahu, Uranus, and Mars is a very innovative combination. It is quite a violent combination as well. This is why we're seeing so much cray-cray in the world, so much weirdness in the world. Wherever this conjunction falls, it is difficult for people because it's very bombastic and unexpected. Anyway, but one of the innovations of this, there's a company that's called Meetable. Yeah, Meetable. Oh, Diane's heard.
I know what you're going to ask.
What is the word? Meetable.
Meetable. Yes, Meetable. So, I mean, it sounds almost like a dating app, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
What do you reckon? Meetable. Anyway, the people that are just passing. Anyway, Meetable. So it's able to produce lab-grown pork meat for sausages. Yep. So they've figured it out. So this Dutch company, using a single cell, it uses single cell technology. So they go along to a pig, take one cell, and basically grow it in the lab. The guy who runs the thing is called Dan Lucensing, something like that, and he's the co-founder and CTO. And he said it's got brilliant taste, it's got scalability, and then once at scale will be cost effective. And now at the moment they're working on not only on sausages, but they're working on fillet steaks, pork chops, and various other different kinds of things. So my question is, can lab-grown meat help save the planet?
Not sure.
So when did you find out about these folks then, Dianne? Well, because you knew about them already.
A year or so ago.
Wow.
I've been following them. I mean, 'cause I can't wait. So yeah, they just need to make it more affordable, because like you wouldn't be able to afford it if they put it out right now. So they're getting there, you know. So
does that mean if once they hit the production line and stuff, would you be a candidate for
first one?
Oh, look at that. That's it. That was like, yeah.
Yep, there I am.
Because it really is, you know, I was against it before initially when a few years back, you know, when I was younger. But now when I think about it, I'm much more warmer to the idea, because of course it means there's no animal suffering. If they're just taking one cell and they're giving it all the nutrients, and they can grow a pork chop and a beef steak to that same standard with all the fat and sinew and everything like that, I might get stuck in as well. Anyway,
who's all ready? The vegans in the chat will be sort of writhing on the floor by now.
Especially as Dianne put her hand up, she's like, "Yes, I'm first in the queue." Dianne, if you're ready,
our vegans are speaking out. I'm looking at them. So yeah, I get the card, the sun card, the card of enlightenment. When you know better, you do better, right? The law of responsibility from the law of one. Once you know something, you can't unknow it. And so we know how we're treating these animals, and we also know what it's doing to the planet. And so something's got to change. I mean, literally, there's a sun here, right? We can't keep this up forever. I mean, our planet's on fire. They're going to have some challenges, though. This is not going to be easy, and I think they're going to really have to figure out the affordability piece. I think, once they get that lined up, it'll be fine. And then, 10 of Pentacles, I mean, here's all these happy families, big corporations, lots of money coming into it. And so, yeah, I think it's the way of the future, and it's going to be very profitable. I'm certainly looking to invest.
Wow.
Joe Snow in the comments just said, creepy thought. If they can grow pork, they can grow human meat.
Oh my God.
True.
I mean, that's one for Halloween, isn't it? My goodness.
Well, yes. This is the thing, isn't it, with this technology? It's how it's applied. This is the case with every innovation. Okay, here, I think it's still a work in progress. It needs to be watered. I don't think they're quite there yet.
No.
They're trying to balance a few things about it, cost versus effectiveness versus, but also who owns the patent. And this is, I think, the big question, the question of truth. Who owns this technology? Because back in the day, research, anything that involved, eventually involving humans, was called pure research because it was universities and hospitals who did it, and no individual owned the patent. And then that all changed with the human genome sequence. But anyway, I digress. The point is, who owns the patent? And that aspect of it is a burden. This is the 10 of Wands. That's where I think the danger lies, not as much in the product as who owns it, who controls it, and who will get access to it.
Brilliant. Anything else to add to that before we move to Lady G, or are we all good?
Oh, people want to know, this is the alchemical decks.
Perfect. The alchemical deck. And thank you as well to Barbara and to Christopher for your donations. Thank you, and everyone else who donated. Lady G, what do you have for us?
Well, above it all, we have wanting to get to calmer waters with things. Underneath of it, there's going to be a lot of talk about it. Information coming out, kind of emotional. Going into it, they're looking at the direction. Now they're having difficulties with it, but they are, again, charging forward. The challenge is the key, is that they're working on this rapidly, trying to get, but a double-edged sword is how people are going to react with it. In the end point, it's a difficulty mountain, and they're going to have some difficulty somewhere. Tower mountain. It could be, if you go totally that way, you're going to have an overabundance of animals with gas house stuff and all the other things that go with it.
With what? Gas what?
Yeah, the cows have flatulence, and it affects the global warming as well. So if they went fully to that, rather than, yes, we don't like anything to suffer, but it's going to cause more global warming and things. And then you got to feed all the animals, and they'll have
really wouldn't, though.
Huh?
Because the animals are only produced to be eaten. They're not gathering them up in the wild. They are only mass produced in like factory settings.
Well, they're going to have to give them some sort of against procreation. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because look at where I live, right? In New England, right? We have an abundance of deer, right? And then we ended up getting Lyme disease. So, yeah, but they have taken that under control somewhat.
Right. So. There's a lot of issues that go with it.
One thing that springs to mind. Yeah, they have to figure out. One thing that also springs to mind as well is, say that this takes off, there is also the cultural fallout as well. Imagine if you are a farmer for, well, I mean, we're seeing it already with the fertilizers, but imagine if you're a farmer for generations and generations and generations, and all of a sudden your pigs or your livelihood just become worthless, yeah, because you can grow a pork chop in a lab. So, I mean, that would be quite interesting.
Well, already family farms are on the skids everywhere because big agribusiness is buying up family farms, and you can't compete. Yeah, and so that's already happening.
Yeah. They're putting them out of business. And isn't it interesting that you were saying big pharma, because the card that I get here are fans. So what this suggests to me is, I mean, and it's blatantly obvious to all of us and probably everyone at home. And I hope you're also having a chop with us, by the way, folks. Pull your tarot cards and see what else, see what you get. So really, this has government support. We can literally just see it as that. And I think once it's got that support, because it would absolutely revolutionize the meat industry, but kind of just like how Lena was saying, is who has their hands on the levers of power? How will this be used? Because, of course, we all like the idea of ethical meat, but how maybe the government has got more plans globally, you know, for this. However, I think, it could be seen as a victory, but look, it's come in the obstacle position. I've had the victory come in the obstacle position. So it's like, what this says to me is winners and losers. Yeah. I think this will become global, the global standard, maybe 5-6 years from now. That will be like the main thing. But there will be people that will lose out, which again will be what, those more traditional farmers. I think you'll still have people that will go for maybe something called boutique meat, which means sort of like the grown the original way. But a lot of animals will probably have to be slaughtered or just become, redundant. But then also as well, how much energy does it take to grow that meat as well? You might need lighting, special lighting, heating, we'll have to see. Next card I get here, 10 of Wands. So it does suggest that it's going to be a lot of effort. I mean, I'm kind of taking this almost to be on that global level, but this to me is almost like certain farmers also feeling overwhelmed by the situation. Once this starts to happen, livelihoods, things will change, but it may be seen as a necessary evil. If we look here, there's that sense of kind of like walking away, but this could be farmers not wanting to walk away from their traditional methods. But it is going to be a thing to be weighed up, because there are so many people on the planet now. I think it is going to be more inclined to ethical kind of food, and it will cut a lot of those emissions, methane, when we start looking at that. And it means as well, no animal has had to die to produce that sausage. Do you know what I mean? So here, ultimately, in the end, it looks like the King of Pentacles wins out. Yeah, I think it becomes popular. It catches on with the government. And by the time the money's rolling in, I think that's it. Game, set, and match. Lab grown meat, everyone. Look forward to it. Bring your salt and pepper. It's just going to be just add salt and pepper. They can deliver it to you in a Petri dish instead of cling wrap. Anyone want to add any more to that before we move on to the next question?
We are already growing organs, because the people that were like, oh my gosh, how could they do this? You realize that they are already growing human organs, right? Yeah.
And if anything, this technique, it will perfect it. They'll perfect the technique. So
that'll source with your Petri.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to be really interesting when it comes to Deliveroo, isn't it? Because it's going to be steak, and then you've got your kidney replacement that can also be delivered to you as well. It's all going to be done by robot. Who knows? Who knows what lies in store? Okay, now look, this is a little British one, and then we're gonna be back to the lower levels of the underneath of the sandwich when we go back to the States. So here, question is, can the new Tory Prime Minister lead Britain out of a potential economic and social catastrophe?
Could you say that again?
Okay. So could the new Tory Prime Minister, so in September, the UK is going to have a new Prime Minister, because obviously we got rid of Boris just about, and it's between Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak. And they've basically got to do the belly dance in front of all of the Tory faithful to try and win that nominee. So we will have a new prime minister in September. But can they lead Britain out of a potential economic and social catastrophe? Because we're really in a bad way in the UK over here, folks. I mean, we're in a bad way.
And you're just at the beginning of it. This is just Brexit starting.
You probably would have seen all of the travel delays, people not being able to get through. The leaders already blaming France. France is blaming us. You know, it's just, honest to God. All right. Can the Tory leader lead us out of a potential catastrophe?
Well, will I go?
Go for it. Whoever's ready.
Okay. On top, the magician. So that could be two things. One, the new prime minister, who, as Hogarth said, will either be Sunak or Liz Truss. I've always thought privately, not with the cards, they'll go for a woman because the country's in such a mess. They'll put a woman in to do the housework, you know, while it's a disaster, right? Okay. But here's the magician. Now, this could mean that whoever the prime minister is has the power to do something more than I thought, or alternatively, the power to hide what they're doing and not doing. So the magician could go either way. There's dragon stuff going on here. We have the slaying of the dragon and we have the fire-breathing dragon. This represents the problems. Queen of Swords, there will be an attempt to cut through, a genuine attempt to find rational pathways. And I think whoever it is will be able to steer Britain a bit out of the worst of what's happening, but not the lot. So moving to a safe place. So there is the potential for that, which I wouldn't have thought. So there we go.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Who wants to go next?
I'm ready.
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So I didn't know that a woman was an option because I'm getting that there's this female coming in.
There you go. Told you.
So
There's Truss.
I wasn't quite sure what that meant.
Yeah.
But okay, so here she is. So the obstacle is like, you know, the UK is having to deal with their karma, their destiny, their fate, everything that has been laid out before them. They have to actually deal with it. And it's going to be a tough job for her. That's a lot. It's going to cause stress, worry, anxiety, sleepless nights. I think things will get a bit worse, Five of Pentacles, before the But then the Star card, you know, faith, hope, trust, everything gets restored. So she has her job cut out for her, but it looks like she's up to the task.
Wow. Wasn't expecting that. Lady G, what else do you have as I feel my cheeks flush with optimism?
We have, you know, that things are kind of slow moving. It's going to take a while. The good news is, you know, something new is coming in, but it's something they're battling with, and it's, you know, they're having a difficult time with it. The key is getting others to work together with this. And then we have, you know, a mountain of difficulties with the contracts and things, but they are going to start putting some things together. But it is going to be a kind of a difficult process. Yeah.
We're going to be poor for a while, folks. I don't know. It's going to be beans on toast. Beans on toast for Britain. I'm just glad I have you guys there, out there. Across the Atlantic.
We can send food parcels to you, Hoagie.
You know, spam in a tin. Oh, mind you, I do have
life milk.
Yeah, long line milk. I do have my little kind of war bunker stash of food if things got really, really bad in the UK. Hopefully it won't. All right, so what do I have? Now I've got a bit of a mixed bag here. But if we look, I've got the smug merchant, and really for me, this actually just represents the attitude in Britain to Brexit. Yeah, those you-know-whats who are just saying, "Oh, it's going to be fine, oven-ready deals. Yeah, it's all good. Everything. We've got the best deals in history," and it was a load of you-know-what. It was BS, absolute BS. So whoever the new leader is, look, they're not going to like the options on the table, are they? Look at that, 4 of Cups. So they're not going to like the options on the table. No. And here we've got the King of Cups reversed. So in a way, also as well, funny enough, I mean, Biden said actually if we mess around with the Irish protocol, we wouldn't get a deal. So look, it looks like he's coming in as well. But really, we can talk about this as I think this is the attitude of a lot of the men that stepped forward and acted as Pied Piper to take a lot of Brits over the cliff. Because when the King of Cups is reversed, it can refer to manipulation, a manipulative, manipulation. Exactly. And there was a lot of emotional manipulation. It was all, rule Britannia, Britannia. It was all of this kind of, and it was rubbish. Yeah, absolute rubbish. They were talking about putting gunships, sailing gunships down the Thames and then riding those up the Seine. I mean, it was just ridiculous stuff. So these were these, manipulative men, including Boris Johnson, who wrote 2 versions of In or Out, and, Nigel Farage and all that lot. But look here, fecundity. Are we saved by the Empress? Could it be that Liz Truss somehow has some kind of golden underwear, some lacy golden underwear to save us from ourselves? So we would have to see, because really it's looking like it could be choppy. We might get there, but look at that. The outcome card is what the nine of wands. So this is about, having to be savvy, having to be canny. Sometimes this can even mean feeling overwhelmed. So I think we're going to feel overwhelmed at the start with the realities, and hopefully something positive comes. Anything else to add to that, ladies, before we move on?
Well, maybe it's not Liz Truss at all. Maybe that's Labour getting back in.
Oh, she says. That would, because there's another female, because remember, Labour has a female leader as well. What's her name with the long hair? I can't remember what she's called. She's just gone out of my head. Wow. Okay, are we ready? How are we doing on time?
Reminding that Milu just lost his mother recently.
Yes.
Had a gentle passing though, which is a blessing.
Yes. I sent him a message actually, just to make sure that he was all right and stuff like that. And he said he's doing okay. But it's sad, isn't it? It's so sad when we lose family members and stuff like that. And it's just very difficult. So yes, love and light, of course, to Milu, and I hope he's doing all right. Okay. Are we ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay, here we are. So this is coming from Bluebird. So here the temperature starts to go back up again. So what's the likely outcome on the vote on the abortion ban in Kansas? Has it happened yet?
Has it happened?
I don't think it's happened yet, has it? They're going to vote whether or not they're going to keep Roe versus Wade, if I remember correctly. Please let us know in the comments. I'll just pull on that.
Suzanne in the comments says beans on toast sounds better than lamb meat.
Do you know what? We could be so hungry by that stage. I might be ready to eat anything that's come out of the lamb.
So Kansas.
What's the likely outcome on that vote in Kansas about abortion? God, what a thing. Just small my camera down a little bit.
I am good to go.
Brilliant. Go for it, Diane.
My cards are talking a lot about them really being stuck. So the Hanged Man, you know, like nothing's really been changing enough. Not getting the change that they want. Their obstacle is literally the card of change, right? So it's like, okay, not a lot's happening. And then the next two cards I get are judicial in nature. So I get the feeling like you may not know for a bit. Like this is going to get stuck up in the courts. Yeah, like this is going to take a while. So you actually may not have an answer when you're supposed to. So if you're living in Kansas, you're going to have to stick this out, I think. It seems like it's going to drag on.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Who's ready next to go?
Okay, first up, Justice. So we've got the Justice card. Then the Queen of Cups, which looks similar to the Justice card, like Lady Justice. And I was just thinking, could they really do the right thing in a vote?
Ooh.
We've got the coming together, meaning I think this is getting the numbers from this block and that block and so forth, how to get the numbers. But then it turns into a dogfight. I think because it gets closer than they think to not passing, if you know what I mean, like to leaving Roe versus Wade. So then all hell breaks loose. There will be, I think, a sensible woman, the practical queen here, the Queen of Coins, will be a voice. But I think at the end of the day, the final outcome, the men will win. So it's like, but they're shocked by some of the numbers and the vote.
Yeah, I've got something similar. Lady G, what do you have for us? Any ray of hope?
Rapidly coming, you know, big emotional issue. Going into it, anchored in, is just continuing to whip it, and you know, swords in the back, not good. Putting an end to productive rights. Really a mountain of difficulty when it comes to compassion. So yeah, no, they're just compassion. We have, you know, no.
Gosh, one just despairs at it all, doesn't it? Honestly, I'm sure the Taliban are looking on as incredulous as we are and just being, what happened? They've taken every single, you know, and you know what? At this stage, I think the Taliban are actually going to sue the GOP for copyright infringement at this stage because they've stolen so many of their ideas. It's, do you know what I mean? I cannot believe. Anyway, stay calm, Hoagie. Here we go. Hierophant card comes back. My third time pulling this card. So of course, what? It's talking about quite literally the High Court. Yeah. We all know who perpetrated this. What has this caused? Here we've got the Eight of Swords. So look, this is just this precarious situation. So again, I think to echo like with everyone else's cards, it could be dicey, folks. This might be a close one. It might be a close one. The next card that I get come out is the Nine of Pentacles. And normally this is the, you know, when it's the right way up, it's what? The emancipated, you know, the emancipated woman. Yeah. So here in this context, when we're talking about Roe versus Wade, this is what? The disempowerment. I take this as the disempowerment of women, wanting to hold them back, not wanting them to be, you know, independent, barefoot and pregnant, and all the usual misogynistic, you know what. Then we got this, trying to walk away, but it's come reversed. So again, this is suggesting kind of like with you guys cards as well, there's a kind of a stickiness here. There is this kind of reluctance. Could this be that there are certain people, again, not wanting to let go of certain old ideas? Because look who I get. I get the King of Pentacles. You know, you're saying, Linda, maybe the men win at the end. So we'll have to see. But also as well, look, I mean, there's something here to do with some kind of money as well, and influence and business. I'm not quite sure how that would be connected. Oh, unless, of course, people maybe put in some kind of bribes, money, to tilt the scales on one side of the result?
It could be, because Bluebird says the Kansas Supreme Court has voted in favor of reproductive rights over and over. So that's why we're all picking up on that. It's closer than a lot of the other states. There's more people. But so it could involve a bribe or dirty dealings to push the other side.
It could be. If you've ever driven across the U.S. and you're driving in the Bible Belt, which Kansas is a part of, all you get are the extreme, uber right things, all of that type of thing. There is no Democratic channel when you're driving across there.
Wow.
Wow.
All the evangelical stuff, the uber right, that's all you hear.
Wow. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Anything to add to that before we get to the next question, which is probably going to be the last one? So 6 is pretty good. 6 is pretty good.
Yeah.
All good. All right. So this is coming from Sharon Donnelly. So Sharon, you're quite well known amongst us. You tend to come out with this real humdinger questions. So I thought I'd save one of yours for last. So she's written here, hello all. Does Garland have the audacity to indict Trump? No mincing of the words there.
Yes. So
thanks for your question, Sharon.
Capones to indict.
And we're almost at 1,300 people here as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bless you all on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning if you're in Australia.
Oh, indeed. And there's lots of people saying hello to each other in the chat and all that stuff. Yeah. Does Garland have the audacity to indict Trump? What a question. Oh, you know what? I need to change decks. I need cards that have got a whiff of darkness about them. Let's change decks. Does Garland?
I am good to go.
Go for it, Dianne.
So, like right now, he's sort of, I think, prospecting. He's thinking about it. So yeah, I think there's a possibility. But, also too, he's dealing with a very heavily karmic laden situation. I mean, who has more karma than 45, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think, a matter of who gets to him first. He initially does pull back, retreat, withdraw, but then we get the Justice card. So yeah, I think he does have the audacity to go after him and indict him, but I think it's going to take a bit because there's just so many other issues that we don't even know about. I think I always get with Merrick Garland, there's just a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that we don't know. There's a lot of things he factors in. So I think it will happen, but you can see how slowly my cards move too.
Yeah. Well, I got that as well, Dianne. From the point of view, I only pull 4 cards and 3 pentacles slow stuff. Right.
Wow.
Yeah, while we're waiting. But he's working on it. He's seriously working on it. So I think that's a bit affirming. He knows it's a delicate chess game. Right? Not just trumpet juggling everything, including corruption in his own department and everything else. I mean, we've got to remember he's got hundreds and hundreds under him, prosecution teams and lots of tributary cases and stuff. So he knows it's a chess game. He then gets the 10 of Gardens and the Ace of Gardens, which are pentacles. So I think he has got the potential, I'd have to say yes. Can't write him off. I'm not getting cowardly cards or dismissive cards or anything. It's a slow.
Lady G, what do you have?
Well, going into it, we have the swords in the back. He's not, there are some people I think that are not too happy. He's not real thrilled with all the options. Looking at the losses that have been there and rapidly, trying to just hang on to what he's gotten information. Now, underneath of it all, it looks a lot better. He wants the victory. He's still, trying to get those that are going to testify and looking at the past. And I think a lot of it's going to have to come down to part of the testimony from his own family.
Yeah. Gosh, very interesting. Well, look, mixed cards here, mixed cards. So I'm just going to let rip.
Yeah.
First card here, 3 of Swords. Doesn't this exemplify the whole scenario? Because look, most people here watching and all of us, we all want Merrick Garland to do well. But my God, it really does feel like daggers in the heart right now. Because we're watching Jan 6th almost gleefully reveal the corruption, the ineptitude, the sheer criminality of the orange you-know-what. And it is so frustrating because you just want to hurl them in, behind bars and just be like, just throw away the key. Like I said in the beginning, they should round everyone up, give everyone 100 years, and then they argue with their lawyers. They argue that time down. That's how I think it should be, with a minimum of 10 years spent in jail. But I'm a bit extreme. But there we are. So I think that exemplifies how we're feeling. And I think it also shows as well, a lot of people are very frustrated with Garland. They are. Why? If we look here, Major Arcana, the sun is out, but it's in the obstacle position and it's reversed. People are feeling it's too opaque. It doesn't, when we look at the Jan 6, it's so transparent, if you know what I mean. It's just clear, da-di-da-di-da, just as I was hoping as it would be. But I don't think the same could be said for Garland's approach. It feels clandestine. It may not be, but it feels that way, particularly with this reverse card here with the sun. Then we get the Queen of Cups reversed. Now, the Queen of Cups, she has what? Her cup of secrets, quite literally. So for me, this is almost like everyone trying to shake the secrets out of Merrick Garland to just be like, just tell us what's going on. But I know he likes to play his cards close to his chest. Do you remember when I was pulling for him and it was always the Hermit card coming out? I think a few of us got the Hermit card. Next card, another Major Arcana. Look at that. It's the Tower.
Wow.
But reversed. Now, what this is to me, like one of the ways I interpret this card is when you get the Tower reversed, when it's the right way up, it can talk about events that are out of your control. When it's reversed, it can often refer to an internal Tower moment where someone is sort of crashing down on the inside, but trying to keep, the image there. And I have a feeling that there is a sense of, when I see Garland, he knows he's under pressure, but I just think there is so much more going on. If anyone wants to look back in my archive, I've done a video on Merrick Garland last summer, and his chart revealed he had a lot of pressure, a lot of people whispering in his ear. And then my outcome card is the King of Cups, but reversed. So again, there is that element here of what? Manipulative men, who've been manipulating a narrative. And this also suggests this might be some of the people that Merrick Garland is trying to deal with. Some of those people that were infiltrators. There's a lot of people whispering in his ear. So that's my spin. What do you take on that, ladies?
Yes, well, Vivian says, I don't see 45 in jail. And I think most readers don't see him in jail. If you look at his health and everything from this point. By the time anything plays out, plus appeals and all of that, right? He'll just play the demented card or whatever. It wouldn't require much acting. And I've always
I think in truth, I think Trump would rather die than be in jail. Whenever I've tuned in with him, I think he would rather die than be in jail. The idea of him sitting on a plastic toilet that's been shared by how many other people, because apparently he's a germaphobe, I think that would that's enough to kind of just keep him awake at night. And of course, you you only get McDonald's when you're on death row, so that's also for him as well, isn't it? So anyway, the time has sped away as usual. Can you believe it? We've gone over the hour already. Fantastic readings, ladies. I think that was really insightful stuff. Thank you everyone for contributing in the chat. The chat is amazing. I have to try and catch up with it later because it has a whole world and ecosystem of its own, folks.
Yeah,
but we're really pleased with that. So just to introduce, well, not introduce as we kind of sign out. So Lady G, thank you so much for your gifts and talents. Dianne, thank you so much for your gifts and talents and insights. And of course, Lena, my God, my brain went blank. Thank you for your talents and insights as well. I hope you're going to have a nice cup of coffee after this. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you, brilliant. And thank you for everyone joining us as well. It's sped by. Any questions that came in, there were extra questions, we're going to carry them over to next week, okay? And there's some real crackers. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we will see you next week. Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye, everyone. Let me just click this. Oh, do you remember I couldn't click out last time? Let's see if it's actually going to do it.